Yo guys, how's it going? And welcome back to the channel. And today is the penultimate episode for my team career mode here on F1 22. And if you haven't seen the last episode, go check it out because it was an absolute banger. And spoilers, we did get a 5th place finish, so it was a very good result and another points finish this season. And like I said, it has been a very difficult championship so far, but nonetheless, we are feeling confident going into this one and for the remaining 2 races of the season. So, as you can see here, I thought, as it's the Brazilian Grand Prix episode, I thought I'd do like a sort of end center special sort of tradition helmet. So I thought that would be quite a nice touch. So I decided to go with that. We have got a few upgrades as well. I think 10. I think that says completed onto the car, and then we've had a few that have failed as well. So once again, into this episode, looking competitive a little bit more, and the rivalry and the R&D is still between sort of Williams and Aston Martin, so it's going to be interesting to see if we can hold on to that 8th place in the constructors. If not, maybe get some more points as well. And as you can see, once again going through the practice programs, and it's just so much easier to do the quick practice program. I hope they never get rid of this feature because it's so good. And there we go, completing some more practice programs, getting more R&D, and now we are ready for quali, so let's go. Alright then, for the Brazilian Grand Prix qualifying, a track I do like a lot, and obviously a very old school circuit, so looking forward to this one as we now head on to our first lap of the session then, and a little bit wide through turn 1 and then a very bad exit out of turn 2 as well, so this lap is definitely not going to be something to scream and shout about as I come through the very twisty and technical middle sector. And yeah, once again, finding my feet, and yeah, I mean, probably not doing quick practice is good for, you know, getting used to the weekend and stuff and seeing what the car can do, but at the end of the day, you know, I play this game a lot, so I don't need too much practice for it, but nonetheless, our first lap is a 1:10.3, and once again, on this lap, we're going a second quicker, so that just proves how bad our first lap was, up to the line, and we go into P8, so not a bad lap time. I think we got a 1:09.3. So yeah, ahead of both Alfa Romeos at the moment, and Nicholas Latifi going a 10th quicker than us at the moment. So yeah, still time to find for sure, as now we are going on to our 3rd lap of the session, and once again trying to get a nice exit through that center S chicane, and now heading down with DRS down towards turn 4, brake just before the 50-meter board. Missed the apex slightly, ran a little bit wide, and as you can see, the delta is only just up by 300ths of a second, now 200, now 300ths. It's changing all the time on this lap, and now we come through, I think turn 6 if I'm not mistaken, or it might be turn 7, now down the hill once again. Very tricky corner, you don't want to be too keen on the throttle there. It's very easy to lock up, well, very easy to lose the rear end as well, as we go wide through there once again. A little bit twitchy through the flat out left-hander as well, now through the penultimate corner, which is, well, the last proper corner, and now all the rest of the corners are flat out here, but we are up by just around a 10th as we now come around the final corner with DRS up to the line, try and strain it as much as we can, and we improve by a 10th up into P17 again. So once again just on the cusp of going out, and our final, well, a 4th run there, we managed to spin it on the final corner, so we are just ahead of Dan at the moment. Look at that, very close between the 2 times at the moment, but we've just got to find a little bit more. We're literally hundredths are the cars ahead, so just a little bit more, and that is all we need. This is going to be our final run though, 30 seconds left in the session, and at the moment we are up by about a 10th and a half at the moment, so it's going to be very close between the cars ahead. Some people have already improved, as you can see. I'm down to P19, down to the line, open DRS. Where is it going to put us? We improved by 4/10. Where is it going to be? I think it's P18. It's P18. We've just missed out once again. So even though we improved by 4/10, the guys ahead of us just improved that a little bit more as well. So frustrating. Very, very, very frustrating. And nonetheless, though, we still out-qualify our teammate by 0.006 of a second. So that proves how close that qualifying was. Especially on a short circuit as well. It's always going to be close in qualifying. So a real shame. And unfortunately, Gasly gets us on the rivalry once again by 2 points. So it's still close in the rivalry, and we are very close to Team Acclaim 10 as well. So yep, now we're getting ready for practice 2. And yeah, once again bringing in some more lovely R&D points. So obviously it is a sprint weekend as well, which I did forget to mention at the start of the episode, so that's why we jumped into qualifying so quickly. But now we're ready for the sprint, and we are hopefully going to get a good result. So let's go to the first race.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Perez, Carlos Sainz and Hamilton, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Ricciardo and Esteban Ocon, Gasly, Magnussen, Yuki Tsunoda and Mick Schumacher, Albon, Vettel, Lance Stroll and James, Ticktum, Joe, Bottas and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Okay, so here we are then on the grid for the sprint Grand Prix. 6 laps around Interlagos, and hopefully we can get a good result. And once again doing the broadcast formation lap into position and ready for the start of this Grand Prix. Then 5 red lights, lights out, and away we go for the sprint then. And not a bad start. Once again the cars ahead of us getting a little bit of a better one, and now we're looking to the inside line as we come into turn 1 down the inside of Vettel, who was a little bit ambitious of us. I nearly lose the rear end on the exit of turn 1 there and nearly career into the side of Vettel, but we got away with it and also got past Lance Stroll as well, so we don't really gain anything off the start there, unfortunately. And only making up 1 place at the moment as Stroll tries to look down the outside of us into turn 4. We hold on for the moment as Vettel and Tsunoda now going side by side through turn number 6 as we climb up the right-hander for the first time. Albon trying to look down the inside of Vettel. That compromises him. I'm now down the inside and we now get up to P16. So not a bad start at the moment for this sprint. And now trying to line up Vettel once again. I always feel like I'm fighting Vettel in these races. As we had a good battle, I think in Japan it was a few episodes ago. So yeah, great stuff with Sebastian Vettel. But now try and gain as much as we can. And well, the trouble is everyone's got slipstream up ahead because the field is so tightly packed at the moment. It's a bit of an issue at this time of the Grand Prix, as I think a few people were in the pits there as well. I think an Alpine and an Alfa Romeo have pitted, so they've obviously picked up damage as Verstappen now sets the fastest lap of the race. As we go on to lap 3, DRS is going to be enabled obviously this lap as well, and hopefully that will propel us along and try and get past some of these guys. But like I said, because everyone's in a sort of slipstream affair, it's just going to become a DRS train. So as you can see, that's exactly what's happening at the moment as we come into turn 1 once again. Just we've got the pace, but because everyone is just, like I said, slipstreaming, we aren't really able to show it. So it's very frustrating as we go on to lap 4, or halfway through lap 4, on to lap 5 now. And as you can see, once again we're still behind Vettel, and the gap has not really changed that much, as we do set a purple last sector once again. So I think our car is definitely good in a straight line now. It's just the chassis and the aerodynamics I think we need to sort of upgrade, and obviously the reliability as well. But obviously, as this is the penultimate episode, we're not really going to be worrying about that too much. We're just going to be driving our heart out, and as you can see, the final lap here, still behind Vettel, and that was pretty much it for the sprint. Not able to make any progress, and Vettel actually did break the DRS eventually there. So it's P16 for the sprint. So yeah, not a great result. I mean, like I said, the pace was there. It wasn't too bad at all. But unfortunately, yeah, it's just because the track was so short and DRS came into play. Everyone was just slipstreaming each other. So big shame. But nonetheless, we've gained 2 positions, then our qualifying position. So, you know, it's still something that we can take into the Grand Prix. So yeah, hopefully we can score some more points, build on what we've currently got at the moment, and maybe, you know, even catch Alfa Romeo. We're only 10 points behind, so we'll see what we can do. But nevertheless, let's go to the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the very final corner. And just 1 year later, Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's time then for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7 mile circuit with 9 lefts and 6 rights for a total of 15 corners. The fastest lap today should have an average speed of around 135 miles per hour, if, of course, the weather stays dry until the end of the Grand Prix. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Perez, Fernando Alonso, and Hamilton. Ocon, Ricciardo, Magnussen, and Pierre Gasly. Mick Schumacher, Tsunoda, Sebastian Vettel, James, Sainz. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Joe, Lando Norris, and Lance Stroll. Bottas, Albon, Tictum, they've taken a grid penalty, and Nicholas Latifi. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It'll keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Alright, here we go then. On the grid for the Brazilian Grand Prix, the penultimate episode of this series, and it's a little bit emotional. It's coming to an end. It has been so much fun, and honestly guys, if it wasn't for you, I would not be here in this position right now, so thank you all so much. The penultimate episode about to get underway as we are now off on the formation lap, and as you saw at the start there as well, we are starting on the medium tyre as well, so going for that audacious strategy once again, and as you can see, lining up onto the grid for the penultimate time in F1 22 here on my team career mode, as now we build to the 5 red lights for the penultimate time. Lights out, and away we go. A very long hold there, but nonetheless we are away, and once again a similar start to what we had in the sprint. Vettel and that just getting ahead, and now we are up the inside of Vettel and finally able to overtake him after seeing him behind for so long in the sprint. But now we get past him. I think Stroll's got past him as well, as now Stroll going up the inside of us on the exit of turn 3. So what a start from Lance Stroll, and obviously on the soft tyres as well, so on the faster tyre than me. I was having a look down the inside into turn 4, but Stroll had that kind of covered, and I didn't want to risk my front wing this early on in the Grand Prix. And as you can see up ahead, we've still got some more squabbling up ahead. I don't know, I think that's Ricciardo and someone else. I can't really see who it is at the moment, but we go down the inside of Lance Stroll and managing to pick up the place, as I think it's Magnussen and Ricciardo. And now we've got a safety car, I think, virtual safety car deployed, and what has happened, I think it's a Bottas of Alfa Romeo. I think Bottas has had an issue, and now we've got a virtual safety car, which is something we don't see too often in this F1 game. It's Bottas, and unfortunately, a bit like Verstappen in the USA, he's just gone careering into the back of the Williams, and well, yeah, it's a very amateur mistake from the Finnish driver, so big disappointment for him. And now the virtual safety car is ending here halfway through on lap 2 then, so we're going to get green flag racing once again, and we are off. So on the back of Mick Schumacher now then, so trying to, well, once again, it's sort of what was similar to the sprint, just trying to get past people, but hopefully this time there'll be no DRS or slipstream affairs. But at the moment, as you can see, it's sort of like that. As you can see on the minimap, there's just so many cars following each other, and once again becoming a bit of a slipstream affair, so a bit of a shame at the moment. And obviously we are on the slower tyre at this stage of the Grand Prix, as that's Tsunoda going wide through turn 1. He's really held himself up, and Mick Schumacher, as we now try and get on the back of this fight, and now Stroll right behind me as well. DRS into play as well, and now we're going to try and look down the inside of Schumacher, as he now tries to look around the outside of Tsunoda. They nearly made contact, as we're just licking our lips here, trying to pick up the pieces if we can. And now we're having a little look down the inside of Tsunoda, and yeah, not going to make that position, as I'm trying to get my words out, as Stroll is up the inside of us here on lap 3, and trying to hold it around the outside, and it just proves how much slower the medium tyres are at the first part of the Grand Prix. But luckily we managed to hold off Stroll, and but the trouble with that was because we started fighting Stroll, we've lost a little bit of ground to the cars ahead, so it's a big shame, because we were in contention there for some points, hopefully, but nonetheless we've managed to claw back a little bit at the end of lap 5 here, out of the exit of the final corner. And yeah, we're not looking too bad now. Obviously this is the phase where the soft tyres will start having a little bit of wear, and we're now back in DRS as well, and we've got a little bit of a gap to Stroll behind us. Only 6/10, but it's more than what we were doing. The only trouble is at this stage is our ERS. As you can see, it's hovering around the 20 mark, and yeah, we've been burning a lot so far down the straight, which I think is another reason why we are so quick down the straight. But obviously that's a problem because it drains so quickly. But here on the end of lap 6, we can see some people in the pits now, and that's promoted us up into P8 at the moment, and then the following lap even more people into the pits as well then. So yeah, trying to see if we can go as long as we can. Obviously we're going to go longer than these guys around us anyway, because they're all on the soft tyre, but I mean, if a safety car came out now, that would be absolutely perfect. As you can see, the medium, I think myself, Magnussen and Ricciardo are all on the medium tyres, so we still haven't pitted yet, but Ricciardo now putting me under pressure, as you can see here. And I think he will have an opportunity now with DRS to try and get past us. As we now come down towards turn 4, the McLaren pulls to the inside line. I think it actually might be Norris, sorry, not Ricciardo. I think it was Norris who's got past us, and now we're trying to give this up, but I'm still fighting with him as we now try and go around the outside, and the McLaren finally gets the position from us. So I don't know why I was really fighting that, to be honest, but nonetheless we are now coming into the pits, and yeah, sorry, it was Norris who had pitted, so I kind of was helping out the Ferrari there a little bit, holding him up. But nonetheless, we're in now at the end of lap 11 onto lap 12, and on go will the soft tyres. But it will be interesting to see where we come out of, and that's the Haas of Schumacher also into the pits as well. On go the softs, and I think the right rear there was a little bit slow, so that's going to cost us a little bit of time. As you can see, I think that was our teammate going through to turn 1 right now, so I don't think we're actually going to come out in a very good position at all here. As you can see, as we now come around turn 3 on the exit of the pits, yeah, we're down in P20, so we are actually last in this Grand Prix. So yeah, that has not worked out at all really, as we now start lap 13. But Guan Yu Zhou is actually in the pits, so he was the other driver still yet to pit, unless he had some damage, but he has gone onto the hard tyre, so I don't know. He might have started on the mediums, but I don't think the AI would do that kind of strategy, so I think he probably has broken his front wing. But nonetheless, we are not last now, and now we're trying to hunt down our teammate and Latifi up ahead. As you can see, we've got the gap down to about 5/10, well, just under 6/10, as we are on the penultimate lap now, so getting very close to these guys. As you can see, the energy is just on the limit of about 4% as we lose the rear end. And we were just pushing a little bit too hard, and that's completely ruined our race. As you can see, just got a little bit greedy on the throttle, pushing too hard, and now all that hard work we've done to close up and probably finally get a chance to overtake has just gone completely out the window, and now Guan Yu Zhou is going to be right on the back of us on this last lap, because he's now right behind us. I've got dirty overheated tyres, and now we'll see what he can do down the straight. I don't think the Alfa Romeo is that quick in a straight line, and as you can see we're still pulling away slightly even with the DRS that he has behind us, so not too bad for the time being. We're on 1% for the ERS, so we are just going to do all we can to try and stay ahead of Guan Yu Zhou, and it could have been a lot more. As you can see, our teammate now 8 seconds down the road, but this is to turn into a horrible, horrible race. As now Guan Yu Zhou trying to go around the outside of us into turn 4, and I didn't think he was going to have that much of an opportunity, but he really did. And luckily we managed to hold on to P19. It could have been so much more if it wasn't for that mistake, and if it wasn't for the mistake in the pit stop as well. It's going to be an unfortunate P19 for the Brazilian Grand Prix. What a shame. What a shame indeed. Such a big shame, because like I said, the pace was there, and you know, we were on the faster tyre towards the end of the Grand Prix there, so that's super frustrating, but nonetheless super frustrating. And there we go, Charles Leclerc is world champion, so he might have not won it in real life, but he's won it on the game, so that's still something to celebrate about, I imagine, for some of the Ferrari fans.
Not just victory today then, but the championship as well. What a spectacular season they've had. Congratulations to the whole team. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
There we go, so Charles Leclerc, world champion. As for us, like I said, it was a bit disappointing. The pace was there, and I'm just fortunate. I think we just missed out, and we were just a little bit slow on that end of that medium stint, and with the pit stop as well didn't help. And obviously the spin didn't help at the end of the Grand Prix as well, so just pushing a little bit too much, unfortunately, but nonetheless was a very entertaining Grand Prix. So, and that was quite surprising that Norris didn't get any points in that Grand Prix, unless he made a mistake, I'm not sure, but yeah, it says he got no points in the entire weekend, which was a little bit odd, but yeah, Vettel got close to scoring points as well, P13, but yeah, as for us, like I said, P20, sorry, not P19, P20, our teammate P19, oh no, sorry, that was for the entire weekend, yeah, because it's a sprint weekend, so yeah. We did finish the race in P19, our teammate P18, and 2 DNFs for the Grand Prix as well. I don't know what happened to Fernando Alonso. He must have had a mechanical failure, because I don't think there was a crash or anything. So yeah, bit of a disappointing episode, and like I said, no points on the board once again. But I think we still managed to hold on to 16th in the championship, and Aston Martin's still not scoring any points. Neither is Williams. So that's our main rivalry, so obviously making sure that we are staying ahead of that, and like I said, losing out to Pierre Gasly even more in that Grand Prix, which yeah, we're not on the level of the AlphaTauri at the moment. We're just a little bit behind, and we have hit Team Acclaim 10 as well, so that's good coming into the final race of this F1 22 career mode. It has been a very long journey and a frustrating one at times as well, but there we go, got a sponsor bonus as well, and more cash that we can spend for this final episode of this career mode. So yeah, we're still the second to last worst car on the grid, so that's a little bit frustrating. So hopefully some of the upgrades that go on next episode will really promote us up into point territory, and hopefully we can go and get Alfa Romeo in the constructors, because that would be honestly perfect, as we are now just switching back to our helmet for the final Grand Prix. And as you can see there, got some more upgrades on the car. So there we go, guys. That is going to be it for today's episode. If you have enjoyed it, please do give it a thumbs up as always, and I will see you all again for the final episode of this career mode very, very soon. Take care.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind.